Hi, I'm Becky Amble. This is a Marketing Minute. Thank you for tuning in again. And I believe we covered 4 revenue streams that were really using your existing assets and capitalizing on that. Then we had, I believe it was 4 or 5 innovative strategies. And now what I want to do is just share a couple points to make whichever you decide to do come together and be successful. So even with these innovative revenue models, there's new ideas and new opportunities all the time. And it's a great thing to pursue for a small or mid-sized B2B company. And you want to implement them successfully and have a thoughtful and strategic approach. So in everything that I do, I always have to have a plan. I mean, that is the business that I'm in, and that is the key service that I bring to clients, is helping them really figure out what they need to do and put it all together. So of course I better do that myself. Anyway, here's some things to keep in mind. First, have a customer-centric approach. And you know, if you've been to very many of my programs or videos, I'm all over really listening to the customer. It's so important. And here again, you really want to understand the customer needs and pain points. And that is just paramount in tailoring the revenue model to meet their specific requirements. So above all, look at these ideas and go, wow, that's a really great idea. That makes a lot of sense. Well, make sure it's going to make sense for the customer, and they're going to be happy and they're going to see the value in it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Second is scalability and flexibility. So ensure that the revenue model that you are going to add or change to can scale with the growth of your business and adapt to changing market conditions. Again, if you come up with an idea, one of the ones that I've shared with you, and it's not scalable, that's not going to serve you well. Keep in mind, you want it to be scalable and flexible enough to adapt to any changing market conditions. And we know market conditions change pretty regularly, and customer preferences and priorities and pains can change and evolve. Third point, technology and infrastructure. So it's important to invest in the necessary technology and infrastructure to support the chosen revenue model efficiently. And that's maybe even part of your decision process, is looking at any of these additional different revenue models and what is going to be required as far as investing in technology and infrastructure, and making sure that you think about that in your decision to move forward, and that either you have the technology or the infrastructure, or it makes sense to do that investment. And you have to do the investment that is required in order to carry out some of these ideas, or that's not going to work either. Fourth point, communication and education. Clearly communicate the benefits of the new revenue model to customers and provide any necessary education or training. There could be a learning curve for the customer, and with this you might have a new onboarding program. There could be anything. And some of the people that I know that are in the SaaS and IT world have been really ahead of the curve when it comes to onboarding and education. And they were doing online webinars before we had Zoom and before we even thought about doing some of that. If we have not been in that particular sector, they seem to have led the way. So keep in mind that you need to clearly communicate and make sure you're talking to the customers. And maybe you need to put together something in an email. Maybe you need to have multiple emails. Maybe you need to have a newsletter. Somehow you need to be able to communicate to them how this adds value and make sure they understand the whole new revenue stream that you're using and how that benefits them. And again, that whole education piece or training, make sure that that is part of your plan and you've got that built into your rollout. The last point is continuous improvement. Point number 5. Evaluate regularly the effectiveness of the revenue model and make adjustments based on customer feedback and market trends. So each revenue model that you use, they could actually be different channels of distribution depending on your business. In any event, what you want to do is be able to evaluate and monitor and measure the performance and make sure that you're still achieving your objectives. So be really clear on your metrics and what your goals and objectives are for this, and keep monitoring to make sure that it is making business sense. We don't want to just come up with new ideas because they're new and we get excited about it. We want to make sure that they fit our business model. As you're looking then into putting together some innovation into practice to grow your business and increase your revenue and look at additional revenue streams, keep in mind the customer-centric approach, scalability and flexibility. Keep in mind technology and infrastructure. Fourth point to keep in mind is communication and education. And the last point that we just touched on is continuous improvement. Thank you for tuning in. And if you need anything, give me a jingle, reach out. And all of these are different ideas that I'm sure you can research on your own if that's what your choice is, or find an expert that can help you through the process. Thanks again, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.